Hello, friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Rowell. All right, I survived Halloween last night and I didn't lose my voice in the process. It turned out the role I got put into last night at the Silo of Screams was the same one I did the first night I was there, which was the role of the dentist. And the beauty of that role is I got to play it basically mute. So didn't trash my voice, which is a good thing. Still have it a little bit, so that's a good thing. I am gonna go back tomorrow night on November 2nd because they're doing one last little hurrah called Blackout, where they basically let people go through the mazes with all the lights out, and the only thing that people have are glow sticks that they'll be allowed to bring with them. So that's going to be a lot of jump scares, and I will no doubt destroy my voice again tomorrow night. So bear with me in 2 days. I'm not going to have a voice again probably. Anyway, today we're going to do another episode of Bytes and Nibbles with Breck. All right, today's recipe comes to us from Robin Nisius, and I'm sorry if I mangled your name, Robin. Robin sent me a couple of recipes. This particular one isn't an entree. It's actually called a buffalo chicken dip. According to her, it's her daughter's creation, and it looks really good. It's buffalo hot sauce and cream cheese and ranch dressing and shredded cheese and shredded chicken, and it looks really good. So let's get going on this. I'm hungry. All right, here are the ingredients for our buffalo chicken dip. You need a pound of cream cheese, 2.5 cups of shredded cheese. They say you can use whatever you want. I happen to be a huge fan of cheddar cheese and I already had a block of that, so I'm going to use that. You need 1 pound of shredded chicken. Now we're going to have to go into that a little bit. That's going to be a little bit different. A cup of ranch dressing, some buffalo hot sauce. Now you can use hot sauce or mild sauce as you want. You know which one I'm going to go with, right? And then part of the process of making the shredded chicken is some chicken broth. So there's actually 2 recipes in here in one, and I will include both of them in the comment section at the bottom. So first step we got to do is we got to make our shredded chicken. Now the recipe specifically calls for 16 ounces of shredded chicken, but it doesn't really tell you how to do it. Now the recipe says you can either make it yourself or you can buy it canned. And you know me, if I have a choice, I'm going to prepare things by hand. So I actually went out and bought chicken breasts, looked up a recipe online, figured out how to do it, found a really kind of a cool life hack on how to do that. And it all depended on whether I was able to find my electric mixer, which was still in the storage locker. Fortunately, I was successful. So we're going to make shredded chicken by hand here. So this is the way to do this. Now, for those of you doing the math, 16 ounces is 1 pound, but I could only find 2 pounds of chicken. So we're just going to use half of this, and we will just freeze the rest of it and have that for dinner at some point. So our recipe says to put a little olive oil in a fry pan on a medium heat. We're going to let that heat up a little bit. And once it's heated up and kind of spread around a little bit, we're going to put the chicken breasts in there, and we are going to cook them for about 5 minutes. So let's let this heat up. So my recipe actually says that I should put salt and pepper on the chicken, but since all the flavoring is going to come from the sauce itself, I'm not going to do that. So my oil is heated up, and I'm just going to put the chicken on there, and we're going to cook it for about 5 minutes. Like I said, on kind of a medium heat. All right, we are 5 minutes in. Now we're going to flip the chicken. It should be a little golden brown on the bottom. It looks really good. That's, I think, what the picture looks like it should look like. And we are going to mix in 3/4 of a cup of chicken broth. And then we're going to cover it. Sorry, I don't have exactly the right cover for this fry pan. A lot of my good stuff is still in the storage locker. And then we're going to continue cooking for another 7 to 10 minutes. Now, while that's happening, I'm going to start preparing some of the other ingredients. First thing I need to do is shred some cheese. So let's get the food processor out. So let's see how much we got. All right, 10 minutes later, our chicken is very well cooked. I chose to go 10 minutes over 7 minutes. So next step, we're going to put it into the mixer with the paddle attachment. This is I've seen this done on the video. It looks very effective in terms of shredding chicken, so let's see how it works. One, kind of letting them drip a little bit here so I'm not messing up my counter. At least more than I have to. 2, and 3. Put the mixer down, lock it closed so it doesn't rattle around. And they said you're supposed to put this on about a medium speed for about 15 seconds and it'll pulverize and shred the chicken. So let's see how that works. Yeah, that seems to be doing a good job. I'm putting a little bit higher speed. I'm going to let it run a little longer, but it seems to be a pretty good job of shredding the chicken. So yeah, we'll let that go. That seems to work really well. I want to just make sure it's shredded to the point where there aren't any real big chunks. The option, according to the recipe, is you can use a fork to shred it, and that just takes a long time. But this is actually a very simple way of doing it, so yeah, not a bad idea. Yeah, I definitely have to endorse that idea. That worked really well. It took it took more than 10 or 15 seconds. I probably left it in there for 45 seconds, but yeah, that's very well shredded. So let's move on to the next step. Now, since I'm going to use my mixer again to mix up all the rest of the components, I just basically removed the chicken, put it in a separate pot right now just to keep it aside. Kind of rinsed it out because it doesn't really have to be sterile at this point because you know what, the meat's going to go back in there anyway. But now we're going to mix all the rest of our ingredients in here. So we're going to start with the cream cheese. Two full packs of it because we need a full pound of it. Now we're going to put there's 2.5 cups of the cheese. We need to have a little bit left, about half of a cup of it left to sprinkle on the top. So I'm going to put about 2 cups of the cheese into the mixer here and then leave about a half a cup in the pan here, or in the mixing cup. Like I said, that's just to coat the top of it. We're going to add 1 cup of ranch dressing. A little rubber scraper action to get it all out of there. Three-quarters of a cup of the buffalo hot wing sauce. Once again, a little rubber scraper action to make sure you get every last drop. Wouldn't want it to be no good because you didn't put it all in there, right? And then we're going to put the mixer down and we're going to mix it to kind of a slow speed here. So it kind of grinds into so we get it all mixed up. We're going to speed it up a little bit just to get all the goo out of there because a lot of the cream cheese is kind of sticking into the beaters there a bit. Just going to let it run for a minute or so until it's all nice and mixed up here. Looks like we got all the cream cheese out of the beaters for the most part. Just for fun, I'm going to get in there with a rubber scraper and just kind of push everything out of there. Just so we make sure we got all the solids out of there. Yeah, that looks good. Mix it up just a little bit more. Alright, got it all mixed in here. We're going to make sure we get all the good stuff out of the beaters again. Now I'm going to take off the whisk here. And the instructions actually say that you can use a spoon to mix in the chicken, but I'm just actually going to use this kneading tool here. That's it's actually for kneading bread. It's really good for that. But now we're just going to mix the chicken in. And mix it all together. The chicken supposedly gives it the extra texture that you want. I'm going to get in there with a rubber scraper and just kind of get all the chicken off the sides here. And then we'll just do one final mix job here. Make sure it's all mixed in real good. Looks good, doesn't it? So that seems good and mixed up, right? I think we're ready to go on to the next step. Now, the instructions actually say preheat the oven at the beginning of the process when you start preparing the cheese and all that. I'm actually going to wait. I just started to do it now because it takes a little longer when I'm shooting video on this. But normally you'd preheat the oven at the beginning. And we're going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. Now while we're waiting for the oven to warm up, I'm basically just going to transfer the cheese mixture into a disposable cooking pan here. This is just a 9x9 cooking pan. Like I said, I still don't have a lot of my pots and pans out of the storage locker yet, so I just went out and bought some disposable aluminum ones. And I think this is just going to be just about right. Kind of spread it around so it's kind of an even coating in here. And when you get this in the oven, the cheese will melt and this will turn into a really kind of a cheesy mixture. So this should be really good. And a little bit more rubber scraper option to clean one rubber scraper with another, right? And then we're just going to mix in what's left of our cheese right over the top here. And there we go. That is ready to go into the oven. And just like that, my oven is ready to go. So let's plop it in and see what happens. We're going to cook it for 15 to 20 minutes until the cheese is nice and bubbly. So we'll start with 15 minutes and just see what happens. And then we can always cook it longer. You can always cook it longer, right? Can't always cook it shorter. And then as we're waiting for things to cook, I'm just going to do a little cleanup in the kitchen, get a load of dishes into the dishwasher so that we're ready to enjoy this when it comes out. All right, we're at the 15-minute mark, and I'm going to let it go for another 5 minutes because the cheese isn't that bubbly yet. All right, that's looking more like it. Let's take this thing out and see what it's like. Looks really cheesy and actually smells really good too. I'm looking forward to trying this. I'm going to actually let it cool off a little bit because I would bet you it's almost too hot to handle right now. All right, it is taste test time. Let's see how this turned out. It looks good. Very good, very good. Now I would probably put a little bit more of the buffalo sauce in there just to give it a little bit more bite. But it's got a nice bite to it already. Very good. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'll have to make that for friends and family at some point. Got to be careful not eating too much of it here because I got dinner coming pretty quick here and I don't want to fill up on chips. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was a really good recipe, and I'm really glad I tried that. I will definitely make that again for family and friends. I will include the recipe in the description below. I'm also going to put up the email address right here for if you have your own recipes to send in. The address is escapingthemouse@gmail.com. Please send in your recipes because I'd like to try them. I would also like to thank my newest Patreon, Dandelion. Thank you so much for becoming a supporter of my channel. And I think that is all that I have for today. So thank you all of you for watching, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.